After 40 years, we asked, what do the fans want? But instead, we're making this movie. May the Schwartz be with you.
The Schwartz be with all of you in cum spiritu tuo, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to News from the Pew, where stuff happens. If you want to know what happens in 6 months, don't watch Alex Jones. Watch this show. You're going to get a good idea of what's going to actually happen. For all of this, I am Rick, host of Rickcast Reviews, founder of The Armed Papists, and like 7 other things that don't work. And to my whatever side, hanging out with me, as always, is the godfather of Catholic YouTube, the man, myth, the legend, the pioneer of AI, Steve Cunningham. You use AI, do you not?
I do.
Yes, there you go. He's
I use kind of,
yes.
yes.
Don't let it fool you.
Yes, I do use Cyberdyne systems.
Over exoskeleton.
The T100 prototype is over there behind the closet door.
I'm actually not real. I'm actually a complete and total AI creation that Steve came up with. This has all just been experimental programming.
You're in the Bruce Willis movie. He's sitting on the couch, and the guy comes out the door. Something. What was the name of that one?
Oh, Looper?
Was it Looper?
The time travel movie?
No. It's everyone had their own little person robot, and it's pretty much plugged in.
Oh, yeah, I don't think I've seen that one. Well, there's also a category of movie that Bruce Willis has done the last 10 years that have not really been like up to snuff. So I don't know if it was one of those like 700 other ones. Right, Mark? You think if I am AI, which I think I am, you think it would make it more personable and likable. I think I'm the early versions of AI. They got to knock out the bugs out of my system. They're like, all right, don't make it so cranky.
No, I'm not talking slow. I'm not sick. I'm talking slow because I'm trying to remember what that movie is. I can see it. I can find the trailer, but I could. I know I can see the name of it, and it's on the end of my tongue.
You swear it's a Bruce Willis movie?
Yeah, like symbolic or something like that. Or symbiotic.
He made so many bad movies. Hold on.
Anyway, you literally you stay inside all day, and you live through your like robot thing. Not science. No, that's aliens. Aliens was messing up the internet earlier today. If you haven't noticed, took out Gaza,
nothing was working.
Wells Fargo, and
all right, maybe it was one of these later ones where it wasn't very good in any of them.
I can't remember. If I see the name, I'll remember it. Anyways, don't worry about it. I'll figure it out 1 o'clock in the morning and let everybody know in a text.
Please do. It's gonna bug me. Anyway, yes, we do know we will talk about Israel and the attack Israel has just launched on Iran, despite the fact that everybody said don't do it. And the Israelis desperate for a war in Iran. And they're gonna do everything they can to surrogates.
Surrogates.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. You win Rick's book.
Blaze gets it. I'm not going to give it to M because M talked about avoiding Babylon for 15 minutes before the show. So he doesn't get it. No, sorry. Thank you, Eb. You got it. I'm sorry. He was the first on the board. Surrogate Starship Troopers. Mark, what are you talking about? That's not even like the same. Like,
yeah, Bruce wasn't in that one.
He wasn't in that one. You guys are nuts. Can we shun them already? I don't think we can, bud, because they are the most favored nation of all time, and we have to do whatever they do. So it's a shame. I guess so. I guess because it looked like Trump did not want to do this. And the Israelis just kind of did it because the Israelis have been desperate. They've been saying that Iran has been 30 days from a bomb for 25, 30 years now. So they're always saying that, but hopefully cooler heads can prevail. let's really just hope that doesn't take place because
Don't
it's
expect
not.
it.
What?
Don't expect that.
I mean, I gotta hope, Steve. I gotta at least hope for it. So, from the Jerusalem Post of all places.
Yeah, this Drudge Report had it obviously on the
Yeah.
top. So this was supposed to happen on Sunday. Sunday.
Yeah.
Israel launches preemptive strike on Iranian nuclear sites, military targets. According to the IDF, Iran has enough uranium to weaponize at the nuclear levels to 15 nuclear weapons within days. And if you believe that, somebody got shot a couple months ago, and then Mars is going to be in that's beachfront property.
And the Elon Trump feud was real.
Yes, and the Elon Trump feud was real.
Which, by the way, they already kissed and made up. So
it's sickening. Yes.
Yeah.
But we saw that coming. Warning sirens been set off to get the public ready for potential Iranian counterattacks. Well, sure. I mean, if you bomb somebody, expect to get punched back.
They are going to bomb us. Yeah, you just bomb them, you ding dong. Of course they're going to bomb you back.
Iran has not fired one yet because they're smart. They're not idiots.
And also, there's this guy, Scott Hahn, I believe his name was. He was on Timcast a couple, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he got into it with the pro-Israel guys on Timcast. He's like, Iran has had the ability to enrich a nuclear weapon for decades now, and they've never done it. And Iliad, whatever his name on Timcast, like, they're going to do it tomorrow. He's like, they haven't done it yet.
Yeah,
they have the ability to, but you guys continue to say they're going to do it, and they just haven't. And I hope you people understand, Iran is not Iraq. Iraq is a flat piece of earth. Iran is filled with mountains. It is pretty much Afghanistan, except massively bigger. You do not want to have a land war there. The U.S. will be there in perpetuity for that. And that's what the Israelis want. They are desperate for us to get into some kind of land war in Iran to do their dirty work for them. So this is just absolutely ridiculous that we're beholden to some land because a bunch of neocons have to listen to Ben Shapiro and all these other morons who tell us that we have to be obedient to this state that's smaller than the size of Delaware, and yet our entire foreign policy has to be based on what they want, which is absolutely stupid. Yeah, Mark, it's huge. It is. If you look on a map, they look kind of similar. Iran is massively bigger than Iraq, and we had trouble in Afghanistan. Just compound that times 3, and it's just it's disgusting. And I just cannot. I'm done with it. I'm done with Israel dictating foreign policy. I just don't want to deal with it.
It's always fun to see the end of Rambo when it says this movie is dedicated to the freedom fighters of Iran, the Taliban.
Well, it was the Mujahideen in Afghanistan.
Yeah. But I mean, technically,
the Rambo movie's right, man.
I guess, huh?
First, you're telling us Bruce Willis was in Starship Troopers. Now you get Rambo wrong. Come on, Steve. Bring the A game, man. Come on.
They took that scene out. They had to.
It's hard after 9/11, they couldn't really do that.
Yeah. You have to really search online to find that last part of it, unless you have the DVD or just the VHS.
Which is why you should have physical media. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, you won't find it on YouTube.
Yep, the boomers are absolutely. Fox News couldn't be happier right now that this is happening.
That's News. We think we have a storm, but no, it's Lindsey Graham jumping up and down.
Yeah, I can't believe it. About time we go get these guys. So it's just absolutely gross that they would be so anxious to do this kind of stuff.
Well, like you said, Trump apparently told Benny not to do anything. Do not do anything till I get. His words were something about the negotiations that he was going. But then he said something about I think I have the video. I got to look it up. I didn't download it, but he talked about saying that he was disappointed in the negotiations did not go as well as he wanted, and basically he has 2 options. They're not going to get a weapon, or we bomb them and they don't get the weapon. Either way, they don't get a weapon. And so it was in the plan. I'm sure that whole thing with him telling Bibi was one thing, and then they signed off on it earlier, because I don't think one does without the other. Even though just the clip that just had up from anti-war that Trump told Bibi to end the Gaza war, but it's a lot of all talk when the money's coming in. Miriam Adelson, $100 million, and all those other guys, $100 million. I mean, it's kind of like you being played like a fiddle there. He's still cashing in those donors. It's all talk. The walk is different, but it's all talk. The actions keep going.
Yep. It always seems to be, in the end, who is dictating our foreign policy. And it's not us, unfortunately. We are literally just doing what the Israelis are saying at this point, because there's it is not in America's interest in any way, shape, or form to get involved with Iran. It's not. And the only reason we would do it is because, Israel demands essentially that we do, just like Israel is demanding that we clear out Gaza for them. And they're promising, well, we'll give you the property if you help us clear it out and remove the Palestinians and put them all, put them in the happy camps, not the death camps, but the happy camps, put them wherever they need to be. And so this escalation also, folks, don't discount the fact that these strikes are happening in correlation with the fact that you're having these No Kings protests this weekend and the things that are happening in LA.
And Bilderberg. Bilderberg started today.
What was it? I cut you off.
Bilderberg started today. So that's another one.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
That's going on. His start today, goes through the 15th in Stockholm. Some of the agendas: transatlantic relationship, Ukraine, U.S. economy, Europe, Middle East, authoritarian axis, defense, innovation, and resilience, AI, deterrence, and national security, proliferation, geopolitics, energy, and critical minerals, depopulation, and migration. So, Dan Dix ended up getting a couple guys on camera. He found Peter Thiel of Palantir fame, who we've only been talking about for the last year, even though I've actually contacted Catholic news guys, Catholic. Hey, are you bringing up the idea? We'll get into it. But if you're bringing up the idea of the connection between ICE and Palantir, no, what's that? I give up. Literally give up. I was talking to, there's somebody else on X mentioned something. I brought up Palantir. The guy goes, "What is that?" And I'm going, "You're in an argument with me about what's going on, and you have zero clue."
You're in the kiddie.
One guy, the guy said, "It looks like it's a software thing."
You're in the kiddie pool, homie. You don't even know where you are.
It is way too early to start boozing. Good night. No wonder there was a. You laugh not to cry. Rick and I will talk about this. He's on board. You guys have seen it millions of times. Probably tired of us talking about it. People that watch alternative media, they see it. Our guys, no, they cannot bring themselves to bring up Palantir, JD Vance, Peter Thiel. They don't have that connection. But if Nick Fuentes tells them that, finally they get at least somebody to listen, and then they still don't listen. All they hear about is Nick saying something about
the Jews,
telling your wives or something to go in the closet or whatever. I don't know, whatever it is. Somebody else made a meme, made an AI mocking one of the Catholic talking heads, and he said something about, you talk big about the deep state, but you do absolutely nothing about it. You actually say nothing about it. You actually get on TV shows with the deep staters. You watch like Bannon and those guys. It drives you freaking batty if you look and see what's going on, and they go, "Are these guys just clueless?" Someone goes, "Clueless." Nope, it's all about money on this. We could actually probably end this if we had people, telling people the truth. No, we have to play two-party politics, and like this immigration thing is so. If you don't see this as a psyop, we'll connect the dots here in a minute. But I'm sorry, I just got on a little rant from the Escape from LA without Snake Plissken being involved.
Well, the fact is, it all comes together that, this war with Iran, the bombing of Iran will probably end on the 15th, right as the Bilderberg is over. Right when they adjourn, because it was from the 12th to the 15th. The 15th, they'll figure out, we've settled things. It's okay. Everything will calm down, just in time for that whole thing to go out of the news cycle. because then on the 15th, because that'll be what? That'll be next Monday. We can talk about the No Kings protest across the country. We'll go back to immigration. We'll go back to a bunch of other things that are running around right now, and everything else to keep you distracted from the surveillance state that is about to be unleashed upon you. And, you know, the signs are popping up everywhere. But at first, well, you know, the entirety of the riots is really just, it's all theater and distraction, including the National Guard and the Marines and all of these other kinds of things that are happening. I was telling people on my show that, listen, they're going to spin some stuff up in the summer because there's a lot of money out there, and the active, progressive, Marxist, communist, whatever you want to call it, left is not happy that things are not going the way they wanted to. So they're going to cause some chaos. They're going to cause some distractions. They're going to cause some other kinds of things that the left is, that the right is going to cheer on, i.e. the deployment of troops in these days. Now, Steve, I'm going to give you a chance. I didn't give you a chance to actually, I didn't prep you on this, and I wanted to prep you on this. Can you make your position known right now why it is foolish? And I know McClanahan had a great podcast. I saw it. I put it on the thing to watch it, but I didn't. You've got everybody cheering Trump bringing in the National Guard and bringing in the Marines to crowd control the riots in LA. And you're saying this is a terrible idea. And I saw you go back and forth with some people calling you kind of a weak, weak conservative, because let California do all this other kind of stuff. And just, what are we, I guess my answer to Steve is, people are asking, what are the people of California supposed to do with the riots when you have a governor like Newsom and a mayor like Bass who refuse to do anything?
Kind of like, well, it's your home. Take care of your home then. I mean, if you don't like what your governor that you put in or you vote or whatever, break away, change your governor, fix your backyard. Don't call for Big Daddy DC to come in and play martial law. You live in your city of LA sucks. That's on you. Don't tell everyone. Don't tell DC to come do it. It has one thing. It has zero effect on me living where I'm at right now. It has probably no effect on you where you're at. Probably everyone listening and complaining about it has zero effect on anybody right now. But yeah, I mean, if Gruesome Newsom says we don't need you, well, DC stay out. They have no reason to come in. That's pretty much an invasion from DC, and there's precedent on that. But McClanahan brings it up and comes into this with more of a historical context on things. But it's not a federal thing. It's a state local thing. The city of LA is not ran by DC. The state of Georgia, the state of California is not ran by DC. Now, if they take over a federal building or something, it's federal property. So you get into that line. All right, then the feds are going to come down and take care of the federal property because it's their property. But calling in the Marines, that's go into the Whiskey Rebellion, go into all the other ones that come in beforehand. And as McClanahan said, they didn't call them King Andrew Jackson for nothing, Emperor Jackson for nothing. But yeah, there's some power tripping that went all the way down to Washington with the Whiskey Rebellion, and people that was a guy from Pennsylvania, two of them said, no, we do not need you. We do not need you. And it was only till one guy that was in the judiciary who hated Pennsylvania and said, yeah, we need you. And that's when we got our one. It's kind of like if you ever seen something like the movie Ferdinand. He goes, if that rock isn't here when I count to 10, and it ended up going really fast for the last one with an egg. He sees it hatching. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Didn't hatch. So it's just like that. If we can say, hey, we want somebody to say yes, one yes. Anybody in this room, one yes. We're going to ask 1 million people, 999,999 say no. We're going to find out one yes, and then we're going to go in, which was happening with the Whiskey Rebellion. They found that one. They came in. And then, oh wait, they didn't arrest anybody. Everybody's pardoned. Nothing. It's like, why do we come in? By the way, that tax is still on the books. So same thing with Cali here. This is a state by state thing. Unless you want to just get rid of all the borders, screw federalism, as some have actually said. We don't, you look at McClanahan on Twitter, and people are going after him left and right because one guy says federalism is the reason why we're in this. No, idiots. It's not using federalism that got us in this. It's the nationalism. Josh Hawley from Hawley from Missouri.
The senator, right, from Missouri?
Yeah. He's saying idiotic things like, oh, the Gruesome Newsom is now the acting neo-Confederate. But he's the party of Lincoln. That GOP is the same GOP from that time, which came in and started running rampage down here in the South, doing all kinds of military action, martial law in Texas, all the way to the East Coast and in between. So they are used to stuff like this. So yeah, it sucks. That's what's going on. But guaranteed, and on top of that, the protests. Okay, they were protesting day one. Are we now saying is the right, a woke right enough saying just like the woke left, you're not allowed to protest? Trump's out there saying they can't protest. These illegal protests. And that 1A, you can have the right to a peaceful protest. Now, yes, it's gotten out of hand since. You can argue, and there's plenty of evidence that could be people that have been moved in, plants. George Soros paid for. Who's that guy in the Treasury Secretary? He's a Soros guy, literally a Soros guy. So if Soros paid for it, guess what? Soros is in the White House. He's the gay guy with 2 kids running the Treasury Secretary. Scott Bessent, Soros guy. Nobody really knows it. We're the only guys that bring that up. But no, yeah, Soros paid for it, but there's a Soros guy in the White House. All right, make that make sense. But yeah, he's out there threatening the rest of Gruesome Newsom. There's he's now the neo-Confederate. Okay, great. Behind what Gruesome Newsom said at the beginning, yes, he's 100% right. It's his state, it's his thing. Feds stay out. And you talk about a crazy world. I have now agreed with Code Pink multiple times, Bernie Sanders, I think, a couple times, Gruesome Newsom now. Who else was it? There's a couple of lists of like, holy cow, I need to go to bed and look at myself in the mirrors. What's going on? It's crazy town. People you never think you'd agree with. You're on. Yeah, I'm behind Gruesome Newsom on that. Get out of our state. We will take over. Trump cannot call up the National Guard. Who brought that up? Was it somebody that I didn't think would ever say those words? Was it Alex Jones? Was it? No. It was Brian Christian of the Last American Vagabond. And maybe he started watching some of the things I've been sending because he actually brought up, no, the governor is the commander in chief. Yes, of the National Guard, 100%. Now, again, could there be other things going on? Of course, hence the PSYOP part. Because we get into all that stuff beforehand, but I guess we'll go ahead and start on that, I guess.
Yeah, let's just go right into it. Now, to back up your point, Greg Abbott has called up the National Guard in the state of Texas for the ones in San Antonio and the other ones as well. So it's, that's a good example of it.
Florida,
Ron DeSantis.
You anything, you will call in your family or whatever. And like,
yeah. Ron DeSantis is like, if they're blocking you on the highway, run them over. I don't care. He's pretty much giving you a license to not be stopped. But the fact of the matter is, these protests, they happen in these blue states because they're wanting this precedent set. They're wanting the precedent of a president federalizing the National Guard to go in. And folks, I get it. I will 100%. I'm not taking the devil's advocate, but I will take an opposite position just to let Steve expound on it more. I get the fact that it's tiring to watch California burn like this, to watch these people go unimpeded and to, destroy their communities and do these things and to get in the way. Now, of course, Steve and I are not big fans of federal immigration things, but right now that's the current policy. That's what they're doing. If they're impeding the federal immigration raids and their sanctuary cities and they're dividing, this is how you get strongmen, is when you have this kind of call for, we want our strong guy to take you out, but when it's their strong guy forcing you to take a jab and put masks on, then it's a violation of your civil liberties and your civil rights. So now RG, I get it. Do you think he represents the people? According to the way the state is run, he technically is, because he was voted in. Now you're going to tell me, and I agree with you, that the way they're voted in is very shifty, and he's probably stuck in there, and all these other things. But the people of that state have to do something to try and get that back. How? I mean, Steve and I have talked about it before. That top part of Jefferson that's wanted to break away for like 45, 50 years, they really just need to be like, listen, you people in Los Angeles are killing us. We're done. We're not going to join Idaho, or we're just done. We're going to set up our own state here, stay out, and maybe other parts, maybe San Diego's like, we're not down with this either. We can't deal with Newsom anymore. We're done too.
Yeah, it could split up in 5 different states, 6.
Easy, but they don't. I think what Steve and I are saying, RG and everybody else, is that they're too addicted and they're too psyoped or browbeaten into the blob. The blob where Washington, D.C. takes care of everything, and your governor is almost a ceremonial position, right? They're almost ceremonial positions at this point, Steve. Elected ceremony, like they're almost figureheads. Governors have been turned into figureheads. Now they get to do their own stuff. If you're Florida and you kind of break away and you allow your governor to kind of run the state properly, you get that. And even Kristi Noem, I don't like her as the Homeland Security Secretary, but when she was running one of the Dakotas, she was doing some things correct. The problem is, with this chaos that both sides, and I stress this, both sides are allowing to take place, they are setting up a strongman, which is historically, folks, this idea of a republic, a democracy, the American experiment is very rare. A lot of times you get a strongman that runs, eventually people say Putin's a bad guy. Stuff like that, you're going to get a Putin here. A person that everybody looks to that says, fix the problem. I don't care. Fix the problem. Bring in the military and just fix it, and do anything else about that. Here's my thing, Amy. We marched down into Mexico City in the war, the Mexican-American War, and we gave it back to them. So if they want to talk about how it was a part of Mexico, we should technically own all of Mexico right now if the Mexican-American War went the right way. So they can shut their mouth about that.
They've been talking about that for years. They're in the normies. I guess most people that don't pay attention to stuff all the time, they've been talking about this Reconquista for multiple years. Because yes, Colorado all the way. When I was out in Colorado, they were talking about that. It used to be Mexico. That's the whole Hispanic culture that's out there. But yes, they've been talking about Reconquista for quite some time. Again, and then on top of that, which I'll bring up, hey, we're Catholics. These are our guys. If still with this argument, it's still, well, I would just make sure they're all Catholic and going to the church, and I don't care who's running the thing. If you're in Georgia, who cares about the West Coast? If you're in North Carolina, I did not get up going, I wonder what's going on in California today. No, never crossed my mind. Didn't care about what's going on in Chicago either, or Austin or Dallas, anything like that. I care what's going on here. I don't even go into Charlotte unless I absolutely have to. So, I mean, again, it's this whole mindset. Whoever's on the TV, we have to be hyper focused on that. And you'll see people, well, what's going on? It's going to destroy our country. You're thinking one little thing in LA. All I could think of was Nelly, LA. Is a country grammar. Songs pop in my head. Where obviously the movie of Snake Plissken throwing a full court shot to win to get out of the Escape from LA. But here, check out the book if you guys get it, if you guys want. Bye This American Empire by Bill Kaufman. He's a quote unquote liberal, but you would probably agree with 99% of the things he says, because he's not, how would you say, Nancy Pelosi liberal. And he talks about states being controlled by big cities. Like, he lives in New York. He hates that he is controlled by New York City and wants the New York City to break away and become its own state. And it could become many states. I forgot. I got to get this clip. I forgot about that. The New York mayor thing. Did you see that?
This New York mayor that's running.
I'll find it. Your mouth will drop on it. I can't believe I just heard this. Anyway, all right, let's get into LA here.
By the way, while he's looking for that, when they talk about Mexico owning the Southwest, they owned it for 27 years. Okay, it was part of Mexico for 27 years before it's been part of this union longer than that. So they're historically stupid as well when it comes to these things. So go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, the history thing is people are just completely stupid on that. All right, I found that one, I think. No, that's not it. I'll find. Anyway, I'll get into that. I'll find that for that later. It's hysterically bad. All right, a couple weeks ago, Stephen Miller slams ICE. A couple weeks ago. This was 10 days ago.
Yeah.
Why aren't you at Home Depot and 7-Eleven? Stephen Miller is demanding ICE ramp up deportation numbers and target illegal aliens where they gather. Home Depot, 7-Eleven, Walmart, all that stuff. Okay. And then remember the Elon thing. Here's that clip about Newsom acting like a neo-Confederate. Really, yeah, he is. The idea that states can just resist the federal government. Federal law doesn't matter anymore. We fought a civil war over this. We are a union. That is pretty much the dumbest comment by anybody of this right now. And somebody voted for that guy. I know there's some guys that love that guy and have taken photos with him. We're all going, that is just retarded right there. Where was I going with it? Here's the left doing stuff like this. Remember the whole thing about the news shows, the TV channels were saying we have to protect our democracy and all this. Hey, just like the right, the fake, or the left, the fake right. As Dr. Ruby says, this is an excellent example of what I call the course. Whenever you have a synchronization of messaging by people with big accounts, you have an operation. Matt Walsh, ban all third world immigration, legal or illegal. Charlie Kirk, time to ban third world immigration, legal or illegal. Jack Passo, it's time to ban third world immigration for my English-speaking people, legal or illegal. And we've reached our limit. We have a huge culture. We reached our limit. We have a huge culture. They literally almost copied and pasted all this stuff.
And the way they responded to that, Steve, is they said, "Oh, well, they were just responding to each other, word for word, buddy, like word for word as it was supposed to be."
They really said that.
So, by the way, real quick, this just came in across the X feed off the Elon feed. So from breaking whatever it is, federal judge rules as President Trump must return the National Guard authority back to the governor of California. So now we're back into this place where, I don't like a lot of the judge orders, but this one, there was no reason for him to marshal now he's going to say we did it to protect the federal troops protecting federal buildings, and that's the political gray area, you could say, at one point or another. But even still, it's very much a interesting thing. By the way, the Iranian military just tweeted out or X'd out, remember, we didn't initiate it.
just let you know, here's that New York thing. Now remember, think locally, act locally. This is New York City mayor. They are the candidates for the mayor of New York City. Just hammering that home.
Given the hostility and the anti-Semitism that has been shown in New York, I would go to Israel.
Mr. Tilson, where would you go?
Yeah, I'd make my fourth.
Now, the question they get, you didn't hear the question. As mayor of New York City, will you go to Israel first? So
that has been shown in New York, I would go to Israel.
Mr. Tilson, where would you go?
Yeah, I'd make my fourth trip to Israel, followed by my fifth trip to Ukraine, two of our greatest allies fighting on the front lines of the global war on terror.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in?
You would think that'd be the perfect question, a perfect answer.
It's a slam dunk. It's an easy answer, Steve.
It's easy. They attack him for this.
Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples or at their homes or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need to focus on delivering on their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
Not
as a Jewish state?
No,
as a state with equal rights.
He won't, he
Not
won't
as a
say it
Jewish
has a
state.
right to exist as a Jewish state. Be very
And
clear
his
on
answer
that.
was no, he won't visit Israel.
I said that.
That's what he was
unlike
trying
you-
to say.
No, unlike
No,
you, I
you
answer.
never-
Unlike
you
you, I
never
answer
said
questions
no.
very
Okay.
directly,
All right, I
and
think
I
we're
want to
clear.
be
You
very
answered-
clear. I
you
believe
answered-
every state should be a state of equal rights.
Okay.
He said the wrong. He gave the wrong answer. I mean, he's running for mayor of New York City, and they care about who's going to Israel. All those guys should be flogged and thrown in.
You should be automatically disqualified from running for the mayor of a city if your allegiance is more to the state of Israel.
They're more upset about that. That is unphenomenal.
By the way, I don't need to do this again, but since we started off with the Israeli thing, this is from CNN talking about the damage or what happened with that airstrike. So here we go, guys. This is literally coming in off the wire as soon as it uploads.
I just heard from a senior Israeli official who says that according to Israeli assessments, there are very high chances that the entire Iranian general staff, including the head of the Iranian general staff of the Iranian military, and several senior Iranian nuclear scientists were all eliminated in the Israeli strikes tonight. I hear that again from a senior Israeli official who says that several senior top Iranian military commanders, including the head of the general staff of the Iranian military and senior nuclear scientists, have all been targeted in those strikes. And according to IDF assessments, there's a high chance that they've been eliminated.
Yeah, if you want a conflict, that's how you're going to get one. That's and don't worry, but Cuomo's going to be there, so Cuomo's going to fly over to Israel while this happens.
You want a war? I'll get you a war. Good night. Thanks, Israel.
Yep. So
and
yeah, and
there's still Catholic groups that are looking for $300,000 come out to do a pilgrimage in the Holy Land. Yeah, who had your mind is going to these pilgrimages in the Holy Land with this going on? Who thought it was a good idea? Hey, you know what we should do right now? We need to go to the Holy Land. Right? There's only bombing going on everywhere. So,
and by the way, Steve was right. Lindsey Graham, game on, pray for Israel. That was his X feed. That was his X feed.
He couldn't run fast enough to the keyboard.
Yep. Absolutely. He could not wait for that to take place.
I had to do it. If you fell for this, you'll fall for anything.
Yep. It's folks, this whole thing has been set up to essentially allow all of this to take place because all of these things are happening. It's allowing all of this, whether it's Iran and Israel, what's happening in California, it's all a setup for the digital surveillance state. It's all just setting it up perfectly. He's in. What's Carlin's favorite line? It's a small club and you're not in it.
Nobody goes to jail.
Yeah.
Nobody goes to jail.
Who's going to put him in jail? Pam Bondi? Pam Bondi going to put him in jail? She's too busy suing a coffee shop.
Well, since you brought that up.
October
so it's called
7th
setup,
anniversary,
Steve.
that horrific.
Is it not playing?
The anniversary. October 7th anniversary, that horrific day, the anniversary of October 7th. After that, they added new drinks to the menu. One was Sweet Sinwar, in honor, a tribute to the leader of Hamas who tortured Jews, who orchestrated the October 7th attacks. That's the world in which we're living, that they do a drink honoring him and can't do that. And so
She's back on Fox News.
And we're going to stop this from happening. And anywhere in the country, if you do this, we're coming after you. Cannot do this.
I mean, that's pretty egregious. I didn't know about the drink.
Again, talk about this is Epstein files, but we're going after the coffee shop. But
yeah, we didn't even talk about the fact that Kash Patel went on Joe Rogan and flubbed that interview super hard. Joe Rogan is not exactly he's not the hardest interviewer, but even he had Kash Patel on the ropes when Kash was like, "Would I lie to you?" And the entire internet said, "Yes, yes, you would."
Survey says,
yes, you would, dude. Yeah, and Tim Pool and the Quartering, they all ran cover because they'll always start with this, guys. I'm all for giving Kash and Dan Bongino time to do things. It's been 6 months. If the Democrats are running this, we'd all be in jail. We'd all be in jail. They don't take time to do things. But everybody keeps kissing Bongino's shoes. Oh, he left a media empire. You don't think it's going to be there when he gets back? And you don't think he's going to get paid right now? Like, please stop kissing his feet like he made some sacrifice.
Cat Turd said that he trusts Bongino and Patel beyond anything. 100%. They would never lie to me. You're in a cult. You don't think there's a cult mindset across the board. It is people go, Steve has Trump derangement syndrome. Guys, I'm giving out evidence. Somebody correct me, and I will happily put on a MAGA hat. But there's not. Wasn't there a promise to get rid of the IRS? Wasn't this the whole Epstein thing going down? Hey, where's those $5,000 Doge checks? That ain't happening.
Ash Patel said he was going to turn the FBI into a museum on day one.
Yes, all those guys had these promises coming out of there, and everyone bought it. And then no one's holding them accountable at all. And then Pam, going back to the coffee thing. First, she has zero authority to say anything to any shop anywhere in the entire planet Earth. Zero. You have no authority for that. And then says, I'm going to go out and do whatever to anybody else that does that. Again, if that doesn't tell you we have a rogue government, I don't know what does. Sure. And this is not saying, well, what would you do over Kamala? Nobody on this green earth right now in the land of the formerly free that would be saying, hey, bring on Palantir if Kamala was doing it. But with Trump, bring on Palantir. We want it.
I have the answer to people when they say, well, what if Kamala was in the White House? And if you've watched my show, I've used that line before. So mea culpa. The only difference if Kamala was there is they wouldn't go on Fox News to tell you. They just do it. They wouldn't go on to tell you about how great they are. They would just do it and say, sue me and try something else instead of going on to telling everybody and everything about this kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, they're doing all of these kinds of things with MAGA cheering it on, which is why from the news from the Pew was right jar, they allowed Trump to be elected. I told you, Steve told you in the fall of 2024, Trump's going to win because they're going to let him do pretty much everything else that they wanted to do, except they're going to put a red MAGA cap on it. And the right, which was demanding and getting frustrated with Joe Biden, they're going to cheer it on and buy Trump coins instead.
Yeah, that's why I brought up that photo of the him standing there with his arm, fight thing. Jimmy Doyle had a great line on in one of his shows, talking about the smoking gun is literally that gun, because this guy, talking about Donald, if you look at him the wrong way, he will go after you. Since he got shot, anybody remember who that guy was? 100 years post-Lincoln, you know who the guy is. After everyone who's ever been shot in the history of time, people know who the guy is. Trump just let it all go. Nothing went down. Even if it was like inside thing, nobody's been looking. No one's been talking about it. Everything. We're just letting that one slide. Again, that was when if you go back and look on the show we did, I told you that was cemented. It was over that day. And then everyone's talking about first class miracle and all that nonsense to go after. Distraction. And then we have, again, we'll go back in the LA thing. Here's Gruesome Newsom talking about he's trying to hold back tears that he tells Californians not to give in to Trump. And somebody had a great James Lee, Gavin Newsom, actor, director, writer, has an IMDb site. JD Vance has one. Trump has one. They all have one. We did this during when they had the meeting with Zelensky. Remember that one?
Yep.
So they all have acting ones. Jimmy Dore, that was it. And he goes, this is a perfect scenario to usher in even more authoritarian surveillance and control. It's like what 9/11 was for the Patriot Act, which was written well before 9/11. And I know that I have a friend of mine who saw that in the Dallas airport, saw the porn scanners long before 9/11 happened. People urging this kind of surveillance by Palantir and the government are fully compromised ops. Don't fall for it. The people waving Mexican flags while violently rioting are obvious ops. They're working with the same organization, dropping pallets of bricks around New York and LA at the same time. Sure, they love Mexico, but so much they don't want to live there. These are powerful clandestine forces playing the American people, and we are all big losers at the end if we fall for it. Now, on that point, remember the iconic photo of the guy standing on top of the flag? He's got the flag up. If you zoom out, there's cameras all over the thing. He's just standing there. You get the photo out. He's all over the place.
Yep.
Nothing's going on. They started out peaceful. Then people said they were bringing in bricks. How many people go, hey, retweet, retweet? There's bricks everywhere. There was a lady, I posted it, and she was talking about how there's bricks being put in Chicago. It was a video from like years ago, and they're just bricks hanging out just right outside some manufacturing supply thing. But somebody put it on Instagram or whatever, put a tag of bricks being put in Chicago. Everyone loses their mind. You can Photoshop that stuff. How many VO3s? I guarantee I can go into VO3 account right now, figure out how to put in somebody dropping off bricks. We have no idea what we're seeing is 100% accurate or inaccurate unless you are there. The video, it's funny that we've been setting that up with all those AI videos beforehand. Unless you know 100% what is going on, you have no idea what is really going on. Could be staged. Could just be what they're seeing, and everything else is fine. But right here,
what they say, a nice little narrative being crafted. Now, don't forget, the movie Wag the Dog was pretty much a documentary and not a movie. They have producers. They work with Hollywood. They know exactly how to say. I mean, all the good writers are in Hollywood because they're in Washington right now. That's where, all right, you got to do this, then you got to do that, and then you got to set this up, and you got to have this thing said, and then you got to have that thing said, and then you got to make sure this happens before here. And Steve and I have been sharing back and forth the hysterical AI gorillas in the riots because, I mean, if it wasn't a gorilla, it's pretty close to being like just a regular dude or any of these other kinds of things. So it's just that's the danger with this digital surveillance that's happening, and just the digital state as a whole being able to control, say whatever you want about Elon in his meltdown. He still controls Twitter, and you know what? He can throttle or Steve, promote whatever needs to be promoted.
Yeah, good thing you brought that up. I mean, the whole fight, little feud, and that. If they really hate each other, you know what he could have done to Trump? All right, you're kicked off X.
Yep. He didn't.
That didn't happen. They yapped back and forth, got a lot of impressions. They were talking about, oh, Trump's in the Epstein list. The next day, LA happens. Nobody's talking about that tweet anymore. He's now talking about apologizing. We're all good friends. I'm sorry. I apologize. May 30th. No one talks about this. This Trump taps Palantir to compile data on Americans. New York Times, May 30th, 2025, in preparation for rounding up enemies of the state. Again, this is one of those things that I sent to people that are in the news, and they had no clue. This idiot in BF, North Carolina, sees what this is going on, contacts guys with news guys that have bigger platforms that people actually like and listen to, and they still won't talk. Here, I'm giving you a layup. Talk about this. No one talks about it.
Nope. Well, they're too busy, Steve. They have different narratives they have. And of course, you can't start talking about Palantir, or you can't start talking about any of this stuff, because if you do, that connects us back to our boy JD. And we can't do that because JD's he's the Catholic savior. I'm not questioning JD's faith. I'm just saying that we can't go again because they're our guys, Steve. Our guys, quote unquote, our guys are there, so we can't question what our guys are doing. Yeah. We have to make sure we just let them do what they need to do and ensure that that's taking place. So
if you listen to Alex, now I think there's a wordy dirt in here, but so it's on NBC or CNBC. He gets a little upset.
Palantir platform, despite what you might read at the New York Times.
Really striking intelligence.
Let me get rid of that one. So
sorry, I'm having a connection.
Actually, the most secure, the hardest platform in the world to manipulate and change. Of course.
Now, this was just the other day.
Any technology can be abused. But if you wanted to abuse the technology, if you wanted to use the deep state to unlawfully surveil people, the last platform on the world you would pick is Palantir.
Trust me, it's not us.
Because of the granular way we segment and put together, and the security models and the access control models that are in Foundry natively, not a built-on addendum. And by the way, that focus on civil liberties is making us really rich, which drives the woke, pagan, religious practicing, Neanderthal thinking people who ignore technology absolutely nuts on the right and the left while we're building value. By the way, I asked for permission before I went nuts from our wonderful, slightly conservative and highly substantive partner, and he gave me permission to embarrass him. He didn't realize it'd be this embarrassing.
I think it comes with the territory.
These are my views, not his.
Okay, so
remember, this is the guy that said sometimes we have to kill the other people. You know, we have to kill our enemies.
Alex, let's get into that. New York Times has an article. Here's the headline: Trump taps Palantir to compile data on Americans. They paint a pretty Orwellian picture of what you and the Trump administration are doing.
I was walking over here. I picked a random engineer, and I said, by the way, we have a contest. Find all the technically absolutely erroneous things in this article in 90 seconds. And I picked a random engineer. I was like, well, how many do you think you could do in 90 seconds? He's like, well, 15, 20. But leaving aside the technical, look, it's probably
wrong.
hard
Is that
for
what you're
them,
saying?
I'm sure. Well, it's not. Well, first of all, on the tech side, it is so ridiculous. I read the New York Times. It's literally like I'm a dyslexic. They might as well be hiring me to do a spelling bee. So, maybe they just have friends who are tech bros, but they can't hire on a meritocratic basis. I don't know. So that's up to them. We have a contest. Find all the errors in 90 seconds. I think somebody will find 50 or 60. But the more important thing is we are not surveilling Americans. We are not building a database to surveil them. And if you wanted to do that, the last platform in the world you would buy is Palantir. And don't believe me, spend 10 minutes and look at the architecture of our product. 10 minutes.
I'm just stopping it real quick because I want to remind you all that the Patriot Act was designed to get Muslims, not surveil traditional Catholics. Just remember that.
And then see how ridiculous that is. By the way, writing ridiculous shit in a highly charged environment is dangerous. And the New York Times should take responsibility for the danger they're putting out in the world. There really are people who believe that crap.
Well,
they believe that.
One thing that's true, though, is that you have increased your contracts with the government, and that has accelerated
so
under the Trump administration.
Of course, but by the way, even there, a mathematically somewhat moderately literate person would say, okay, well, they're increasing in government by 45%. That's pretty baller. How are they increasing in the U.S. commercial? 71%. Are we building a database to conspire against our own people in the U.S. commercial context with no sales force? So we're winning. Yeah, great. You know what? Tell everybody we're winning. We are winning. And by the way, we have a rule of 83 why we do it. Basically means we don't have or have basically inept sales force, and we're winning. And we know why we're winning? Because the product is the best in the world. And you know what the Trump administration is actually doing? Every other government in the world is doing, because everyone wants to beat China, who's not China, is buy the best product. What is the best product? They're not buying our product because they like me or they like my speeches. Honestly, he's wondering why he has to buy the product from me too. They buy it because I'm going to make your company really, really financially strong, more secure, more efficient, increase the revenues. Why does the U.S. government buy the product? First of all, it's a product. It's not a waste of time, service, BS thing.
He keeps going and going. I'll play other things because he's not going to say, of course we're spying on you. Where would he?
I mean, you have to. You absolutely have to.
This is not good. Also, this is not a peaceful protest. But something very disturbing is happening in the background that I think you should know about. It's time to deploy Palantir to Los Angeles to deal with the illegals. You know you love to see it. You're lying if you say you wouldn't. This is the grand plan. Okay, it's not an accident that cars are burning on the streets and people are waving foreign flags on the streets. There is something they're trying to manufacture consent for. Remember, when they justified the passing of the Patriot Act over 20 years ago, they told us we needed all this extra power to go after the bad guys, to get rid of the terrorists. But almost immediately, the government started to use that extra power they were given to spy on ordinary Americans, right? How can you be so sure that you will not be deemed an enemy of the state one day? There's absolutely no guarantee that this master database won't be weaponized against you. And to be perfectly honest, history tells us that the likelihood is pretty high that it will be used against you one day. So to quote RFK Jr., 1, any power that the government takes from the people, it will never return voluntarily. 2, every power that the government takes, it will ultimately be abused to the maximum extent possible. 3, nobody ever complied their way out of totalitarianism. The only thing we can do is resist.
It is a military contractor. It is being used by the Israeli government to find people, to profile them, to pick out targets and to eliminate them. And the CEO of Palantir, a guy called Alex Karp, has said that out loud. He said, this is what we do. He said, where necessary, we kill people. That is now the company that is in the heart of the US federal government. That is the company now which has the data of every citizen in this country. And I think, you know, people should be freaked out, okay? If you're not freaking out yet, you should be. Because we have seen there is a pattern across history, across the world, which is this is what authoritarians do. They want as much information about the population as possible so that they can surveil them, they can control them, they can search out their enemies, they can target them, and they can punish them, and they can silence them. That process has already started in the US, and we see it in the US amongst the most vulnerable population. We see it happening to immigrants. We see it happening to foreign students. Now that is just the test case, because these are the people with the fewest rights. But what happened?
So yeah, I mean, again, it's listen to him, Alex, on CNBC. He's not going to give you the whole shebang on things.
Nope.
Naomi Wolf, guys, do you see what's wrong with tracking protesters' devices to their homes without a warrant? Everyone loves the thrill of hatred, but you can shred your own constitution in the process. What's happened is GPS data from the LA riots, per Tony Saruga, reveals at least 309 tracked devices are linked to ultra-wealthy homes worth over $10 million in areas like Brentwood, Bel Air, Fresh Prince of Bel Air, Beverly Hills, that's where I want to be, Malibu, Palo Alto, and cities such as New York, Seattle, and Maui. 79% of them reportedly fly private 3 times or more a year. So, yeah. Do you remember a couple weeks ago when AOC and Bernie was doing those, I guess, kind of like preliminary promotions for our presidency? Remember our pep rallies? They were tracking all those phones there, and they were saying who. They had somebody had like 60% of people that showed up go to all of them anyways. They were busted. They just travel with them. So they use those devices, tracking them. They're out there flat out saying they are. By the way, Rick sent this to me the other day.
While not a replacement for your physical passport, digital ID can be used for domestic travel at supported TSA checkpoints, in apps, and in person, where age and identity verification are required. And while at the airport, you'll appreciate refreshed boarding passes and wallet, which now include convenient access to indoor mapping that gets you around the airport quickly. Find My to track your bags right from the boarding pass and shareable live flight status.
They just dropped it casually. Guess what, guys? Digital ID is going to be in iOS 29. And there's not a thing you can do about it. But don't worry, Apple's going to build those phones that track you here in the US.
Where's my tea?
So just dropped perfectly in. Like, here you go, man. Guess what? Maybe it's time for all of us to get those light phones or whatever the case may be, right? Instead of having smartphones anymore. Maybe it's time to go back to flip phones. I mean, they can still track you, but at least they won't be able to put like a digital ID on your phone anymore. But it's crazy that this is just happening, and they need this covered. By the way, Steve, do you know what's happening this weekend as well? On June 14th, Trump's military parade.
Yeah, the King's Parade thing.
The King's Parade is happening on Saturday. So that's not a bad time to show off your military assets right before you go to war with Iran.
And that thing is it's obviously that's just one of those things that is being sponsored. It's one of those like kind of like think of J6. The people that mom and dad that got caught, like the grandma that got doing the selfie, she went to jail, and all those other guys went to jail. the guys that headed up were lawyered up and all that stuff. They, you know, the people that got everyone all fired up and all that, they got away scot-free. Same thing will happen with this.
Yep.
The people in charge are got money and back, and then lawyers back them up. If Mom and Jane Doe show up, then something happens. Mom and Jane Doe go to jail. So it's just, again, it's one of those. It is where's what's his face from Star Wars? It's a trap. It's
Akbar. It's a trap.
Yeah, Akbar.
It's a trap.
Another trap. Is anybody listening to Laura Loomer? We already had that on. I had that tweet too. But
Psycho.
Yeah, this is from 2 days ago. It's time for Republicans to crack down on Islam in America. This is unacceptable. How can you do that? It starts with ins and Palantir. Anyway, this is a video of Al Qaeda leader Syed bin Atif al-Awlaki call for American Muslims to wage jihad and also to the assassination of American officials, including DJT, JD Thiel, or Vance, and Elon Musk, among others. The thing is, I'm not playing. It's playing. It's Aramaic. That's speaking wherever. MEMRI-TV. Who's behind MNE? That's Middle East something. It's a
blah blah blah. This that whatever. You get it.
Darn it, I forget what it is. I have it listed. So is this the same one? Anyway, it's led by an Israeli military. It was owned by an Israeli military company. Why is this link up? This was supposed to be
changing on us, Steve. The surveillance state's working on us in real time.
Yeah, this was supposed to be what was the explanation of that right there. Trust me, I'm from the government. I'm here to help.
Yeah.
But yeah, look that up. I was on the Israelis own that group. So when you see that video is going around, Laura's going, we got to get the Muslim. An Israeli TV station, Israeli military station, is putting out that propaganda. And obviously Laura she's a Zionist of Zionists. She's going to drop on that thing, even if that's not true. Hey, we're going to kill all these people. Now, yeah, fake news, but people are going to believe it.
Well, I mean, ironically enough, talk about predictive programming. About 2 days ago, Laura Loomer had somebody on her show talking about how if you're a Christian, you need to stand with Israel.
Yeah.
And blah, 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 blah. And don't worry, she got ratioed back to the Stone Age, even by people like me who are like, yeah, no, not really. That Israel's not the Israel of the Bible, but nice try. But the problem is, it's not you and me and the people that watch your show, Steve. It's the boomers that are still like, yeah, of course, God, and the Protestants. Sorry, my evangelical brothers and sisters. You guys follow that stuff hook, line, and sinker every time. Every time. Some of you guys are probably more loyal. Oh, by the way, funny thing. I don't know who it was. It was one of I think it might have been Josh Hawley, or one of the Republican senators, when they said, we only fly American flags here in America in response to the Mexican flag protest. They were like, is this your office? What's in front of his office? The biggest Israeli flag you've ever seen in your life. I mean, it was probably like the size of the ones you see in stadiums. And he's like, we don't fly American flag. And they're like, it's you, sir?
Yeah. Their bodies would be painted blue and white if they could.
Yep. They absolutely would. They absolutely would. But
there's more Man in America tweets out, everyone's watching the riots in LA, but no one's asking why now. They unleash chaos, then offer the solution. Palantir-powered AI, facial rec, biometric tracking. ICE just signed a $30 million contract. I already showed that to you. The groundwork is being laid right now. And the most vocal supporters, conservatives. The same people who once warned about Big Brother are now begging for digital ID, deportation squads, use of military, and AI surveillance, so long as it's used on illegals. But the tech doesn't care who you voted for. Once built, it will be used on everyone. It's not about safety. It's about control. You're not watching riots. You're watching the birth of the technocratic police state, and half the country is applauding it. Darn right. And how many times Rick and I have said that too? Hey, this is just 6 months into a 3-4 year thing. Wait till the sucker gets built out and the next guy comes in.
Wait till JD Thiel is running things as president, because that's everybody wants JD Thiel running things for the next 12 years.
Well, Gruesome
So-
is he's doing his campaign right now. He's padding his stats. He's going up against the Don right now. What if he becomes El Presidomer and turns all this on everyone else? You guys, the people are applauding for the demise of themselves. Just go ahead and just flip off your kids. This is pretty much what you say. I hate you guys. I voted for this. If you're promoting this, you're pretty much just doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help but go back to the same statement. There was a reason Trump won in such a decisive manner, because he had a sizable control of the population that was not very happy with the way things were being rolled out under Biden. So they got the populists back in with his huge, because there's no, folks, I need you to understand this. There is no other politician available right now, even more than Obama. I'm telling you, even more than Obama, because Democrats go along with this stuff. They love the idea of Palantir and the surveillance state. They think it's fantastic. The people that love the lockdown, they're going to love all the surveillance state for safety, blah, blah, blah. It was the red MAGA, quote unquote, independent conservatives that you needed to quell, that you needed to silence. And there's only one man that was going to be able to silence the entire swath of people, and that was DJT. DJT to come in, and everybody's going to clap for every single thing he does. Not every single thing, but it's not even you and I, Steve. It's that older boomer generation that controls most of the wealth and controls most of the other stuff, that love it and that are going to be more than happy to go along with it and watch all of it get installed and put into place. And you know what, Amy? Perfect. And you know what is all going to be put? It's going to be big in that big, beautiful bill. That big, beautiful bill that needs to be passed.
To get that bill passed. They need this to get the bill passed.
Mm-hmm. That's why they're going after Rand Paul and Thomas Massey for, they're trying to blame those two on the riots. And Massey's like, yeah, we can secure the borders without spending $5 gazillion here, folks. Don't put this on me. He was that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Also, then when everyone's coming up, when they were all talking, why doesn't he do this? Why doesn't he call the troops in because of the Insurrection Act and all this? Why? Words matter. The judges have called it down multiple times. He cannot use the Insurrection Act for any of this stuff, for the deportation, any of this. If he causes enough havoc, they change the wording. Now there's a right. Now there's an insurrection. Now you can now issue martial law. So when people start saying riots and all that, you're actually playing in their hands. They want this to get worse. It gets worse, they take over. Your liberty goes more away into the garbage dump or the trash dump or
whatever,
the toilet, wherever you put your feces, they win.
Whatever quote unquote liberty you had left, Steve.
In the land of the so-called free. Yes. Speaking of that, here, January 21st. What day is that? Is that the day after the inauguration?
Mm-hmm. Trump
invests $500 billion in AI infrastructure with Stargate. Who's the only group that talked about that for the whole week? This channel right here. Nobody else. You're not going to see the guys that go down to Mar-a-Lago ever speak about this one. Nope, not happening.
They were too busy.
I want to get invited back to Mar-a-Lago, so I'm never going to speak about this ever in my life. No, that's those guys.
Yep.
April 2nd, Doge collaborates with Palantir and IRS to centralize tax data. Remember that one. April 18th, ICE signs $30 billion contract with Palantir to develop software for surveillance and enforcement. And again, that's 2 months ago, and people still don't know that happened. May 7th,
busy winning.
Do what?
Too busy winning.
Pound winning. May 7th. Remember this one? Mandatory real ID for air travel and federal buildings. Christy, no, remember that one? We were playing that video. May 30th. Trump tasked Palantir with creating a master database on Americans. You had to get this guy. He had to be elected for all this thing. You would not take this under Brandon. No chance in God's green earth you would have.
I don't think you could take it under any other Republican either, Steve. That's what I'm saying. You couldn't do it under what's her face, your former governor, Nikki, whatever her face was, anybody else. So we hate the CD, but we love ICE. We love, yeah. It's pretty much selective wherever you want to put it. So it's absolutely, but yeah, rage for the machine. Rage for the machine. Yeah, well, they've always been sellouts. What do you want? They just had some pretty good jams back in the early 2000s. Sorry.
There was actually a sermon I posted up, and I said, praying in the name of our Lord. And I text for a while, hey man, you need to do a remake. You're killing in the name of, praying in the name of.
Yeah, if anybody could do it, I know Floss could. If anybody could do it, I know Floss could do it.
Speaking of comedians,
have not one reservation about what's going on over.
It'll get there. Hold on.
What's going on over there? I'm not saying you have to feel one way or another way, but if you don't have any if you have no reservations about what's happening with all these kids getting killed, I don't know, I can't trust you. If you don't have any reservations about Palantir taking everyone's information, I don't know. I don't know if I can trust you. I think they're buying people left and right. This is my guess. They try to buy me. My pussy costs a lot of money. I get invited to these dinners. I don't go. I've been invited to Teal's house multiple times for dinner. I don't go. It's no shade at them or whatever,
He does look like a beast.
The reason I don't go is I remember one dinner, they're like, we'd like to discuss the media. I go, what? No, thanks. We'd like to discuss dinner. We discuss the media.
I mean, they're again paying people off left and right. Don't know who got paid. Don't know if any of our guys got paid. But it's something fishy going on with all this. From dumb comments about this,
they're absolutely terrified. And look, I remember a few stand-ups ago when I talked about what terrorism looks like. This is it. There should be no question to what our country would look like had the Confederacy won. We're seeing it on full display. And
yeah, well, that guy.
I don't understand how that made sense.
Yeah, I don't know how that. Well, the fact that he's just a Democratic moron. So there's really the guy just says whatever he wants to say in that regard. But
just to round up a little bit of what's going on before we bring into the breaking news on Trump's turn. This is from Media Monarchy. He's got a list of things that went down. Use of military-style force against protesters in LA immigration raid. Armed agents in tactical gear threw flashbang grenades to disperse a crowd in LA's fashion district. Trump calling National Guard under a rarely used law. Trump bypassed the authority of Gruesome Newsom to call up 2,000 National Guards to quell the immigration protests. The 9/11 presidency. This is AP News. Trump flexes emergency powers in his second term. It is 6 months in. Civil war fears explode. 2,000 National Guard troops deployed. Americans are panicking about chaotic scenes unfolding in LA today as angry protesters clash with federal agents. Trump's crackdown on LA protests is pure hypocrisy and incredibly dangerous. Americans surely can't withstand 3.5 more years of this. This is going to be lit in a couple of years. Border czar. Do you ever like the border czar? The czar idea in general threatens to arrest Newsom and LA mayor. Tom Holman also warned that if violent rhetoric against ICE continues, someone's going to lose their life. Great googly moogly. Trump warns, quote, we are going to have troops everywhere after ICE protests. We are going to have troops everywhere, Trump said after touching down on Air Force One on New Jersey on Sunday. Quote, we are not going to let this happen in our country. So we're going to have martial law everywhere?
They've already dispatched tactical teams to all major cities. ICE tactical teams. So they're already doing it. And what's the cover, Steve? Immigration. The cover was immigration. We're going to go and get these immigrant guys which, by the way, if you poll people, that's what people wanted. They want deportations. They want people who are in the country illegally to be gone. But you're not going to get that. I'm sorry. You're not going to get that.
Well, this apparently happened this morning on a farm in Cali.
To talk to told us ICE agents arrived this morning here right around 6 o'clock in the morning. We don't know how many people were detained. One of the farm workers we spoke said, talked to, said ICE agents were chasing some of their co-workers around until they were detained. One of the workers described what he saw when they arrived to work this morning, and another one was talking about just the anxiety that how it is coming to work, not knowing if, in fact, Ventura County was going to be a target again for ICE agents. The sentiment here was they couldn't believe what they were seeing, but then again, they thought, not surprised that ICE agents were here. Now, in a statement released earlier today.
Again, that was the protest started because of all the, again, goes back to Stephen Miller saying, go to Home Depot and 7-Eleven and just start arresting people. He didn't care about without warrants. He didn't care who they were. They asked for the arresting. If you live, here's in Southeast Charlotte, there was a Latin cultural weekend like fair, and I can't remember what city it was, somewhere in Union County. And somebody put a tweet out saying this is dangerous. No one should show up because ICE is going to come. Hardly anybody showed up apparently because they were scared people just get rounded up. How many people were you showing the last couple of weeks that have been doing stuff legally? One guy just went to go get his green card reissued or something like that. He's still in jail. His wife's on the verge of a miscarriage, and he's still in prison. They haven't talked to the guy. We played it last week and posted it, and you see it was the family in front of some altar. I don't know if it's Catholic or non-Catholic or whatever. You've seen the guys that have been arrested for no reason whatsoever, and then they get back and they, oh yeah, Trump. I'm a Trump guy, and they arrested me, but that's okay. Yeah, whatever. So you see the unjust, illegal stuff that ICE has been doing. If you were part of that community, and I get, as somebody told me, that's a friend of mine that's he's from Cuba, but he's been here, he's born here, but he's Cuban descent. He goes, hey, no way there's any illegal down there protesting. He goes, those are just regular people down there because no one's going to, if you're illegal, you're not going to go down there and start causing havoc. You're going to get arrested, throw in the paddy wagon, and throw down. Aren't they going after MS-13 guys? Well, how many MS-13 guys were working on that farm?
Well, Steve, once again, you and I do split on this one. If they're here illegally, I get that. They need to go. I mean, the Catholic Church does say in the Catechism we do have a right to enforce our borders based on jurisdiction and so forth. And let me just 2 seconds and I'll throw it back to you. And I do agree with you that I don't like the way things are happening, but unfortunately right now, on the way things are set up with the executive branch having enforcement control of what is on the books as far as federal law, being here illegally. And my question is, and I asked this, I didn't ask this, but Father Longnecker kind of had the same point. If it's a good, hardworking person who's here illegally, why can't we just get them to a center and get them fast tracked through? One, okay. Do we stop at 10? Do we stop at 100? Do we stop at 1,000? Do we stop at 10,000? What's the number that we stop letting in these people and actually enforce the actual laws on the books?
100%. I get
that's the question. And I don't like the way it's happening, but this is also a reaction to the fact that you have a flood for 4 years of all kinds of people. I don't like the story you just told was awful. That's a terrible thing that happened. And there should be some legal recourse for that person who's went through the process and has it. But there's so many more that don't have an allegiance to California. Let's not even say federally, right? You and I don't agree, like loyalty to the USA, blah, 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 whatever. They don't have loyalty to California. They don't have loyalty to South Carolina or to Texas or to any of these other places. And if you do that for enough generations, Steve, your state of South Carolina will not exist. My state of Texas will not exist. We already see California doesn't exist essentially as it's currently constructed. So we're in a conundrum. I don't like the authoritarian stuff that's happening, but at the same time, what's the line? And it's a tough, and that's my only question is where do the good people of the state of California, South Carolina, Texas, where do they get defended from people who are breaking in illegally and shouldn't be here. If they're such good hard workers and they're such great people and such amazing people, then why didn't they take the time to do it correctly? Now I get, and I'm going on longer than I said I would, Steve, so I apologize. I get that they're being extorted by boomers and Republicans who wanted cheap labor, right? Republicans and business, the Chamber of Commerce, they wanted cheap labor. Democrats want the cheap vote. So they're getting exploited by either side. But, at some point, some kind of measure has to be taken place and so forth. And that's my only question. I'm not trying to get on anybody about that. My question is, when do we actually enforce it?
I think it was Leo that got everyone all upset that he said, do it humanely. That's the problem. You want to put them in the paddy wagon and all that? Do it humanely. Treat them still like human beings. Just don't round them up and break. Like this one, it was a video earlier, a couple of days ago, of the guy, the ICE was grabbing the guy's wife and throwing her in. And again, it goes back to, well, the narrative says we're going after the bad guys, MS-13 and all these guys. Here they are going after this. They have video of her, this mom, overweight mom throwing her in the paddy wagon. Why are we afraid of this one? I get what you're talking about, which goes into the video with DJG.
Let's have this one real quick before that. Well, borders enforced now. So what do you do? All right. Do you leave the bullet in the wound? That's my question. Ripping people out. Well, what happens to those people? Let me ask you this, Marie. There's businesses across this union that are run by illegals that run cash-based businesses, so they don't report anything. They also run cash-based businesses, so that way they can report, oh, we don't make so much money, so we qualify for SNAP or CHIP or whatever the case may be. We're going to take the money from SNAP and CHIP that we don't need because we have enough money from our cash-based business. We're going to go to Costco. We're going to buy in bulk all the supplies and things we need from that money that's being given to us instead of a family. Right. If you don't believe that, a single mom or anything else, a citizen in the United States is not getting that money because this person has requested it. They're going to Costco, buying stuff with that money, using the money that they bought from SNAP to cook things and then sell you food, the delicious food that you want, while also getting a cash-based business on the other side. So how is that ethical to anybody in that case? When you say stop ripping people out, if somebody is in your house, but you lock the door after they came in, are you going to let them sleep on your couch? How long?
You do have squatters, and they're given the courts are ruling for squatters for some reason.
That's all. I mean, that I understand, guys. I'm not trying. I'm just trying to present a counter argument here. It's very simple to say, well, just don't rip them apart. Listen, if I had kids and I committed a crime, guess what? I'm getting separated from my family too. So why do American citizens have to deal with all these rules and we have to deal with all this stuff? But the second it's an illegal immigrant, you guys cry for them. You guys cry for these people. But if it's an American citizen who pays I'm not talking to you, Steve. If it's an American citizen that's paying the taxes, they break the rules. They have to suffer the full consequences. But if it's somebody that's making you a taco, all of a sudden you're like, nah, don't do it to them. They get a special pass. They don't have to be held to the same account. They can be here illegally. They can take the money that they take from a job from somebody else and send it back to their family. They can rip the money from SNAP and not give it to a single mother. They can suck money off the tea from everything else, and they can do all these other things, but they get to enjoy the usury. They get to endorse all of this stuff. Anybody says, well, they can't be here. Well, what are you doing? That's uncharitable. And I'm sorry, Steve, that I'm kind of going off. And this is not directed at Steve, and it's not even directed at Marie. It's kind of just, I hear this argument all day, and I just want somebody to ask me or answer me the question, why do American citizens have to play by these rules and yet these other people don't? That's just the question I want answered. And I know Steve's been making a really good point. He's been answering the question to it. So it sounds like I'm freaking out to you, but I'm not.
No, you're good. I didn't think about it.
Sometimes it's just, it just boils me that Americans have to Texans have to deal with it. South Carolinians have to deal with it. New Yorkers have to deal with it. They get their centers shut down because they're immigration centers now. They get these things just, ripped from them for an entire class that didn't even do things the right way. We're Catholics. We're supposed to do things the right way. We're supposed to want things done in a proper order. Do we not believe in an order? We believe in an order. We believe in the Catholic Church. We believe in the hierarchy. We believe in the things that are supposed to be done the right way. And yet, as soon as this comes, we've been bashed over the head enough times to say, well, with those immigrants, they're here for a better life. They're here for a better life. You know what happens in El Paso if you get smoked by an immigrant from across the border? Nothing, because they go back across the border and you got to pay a higher insurance premium because of it. You have to suffer because of the fact that we have given this group of people a special protected bubble. We wrap them in a bubble and we're like, oh, just be careful with them and don't hurt them here. And it's just, where are the people that are doing these things? Where is their culpability? Where is their consequence? Steve goes to Mexico to try to do the exact same thing that they do here. They're going to put him in jail and throw in there for until he grows hair again.
Yeah, I get that. You can't go to like Italy and France and all that and do what people are doing. Well,
so I apologize. That's just I'm sorry for the outburst. It's just, as you can see, it's been bubbling up for a while with this kind of stuff.
Well,
so,
I mean, it's the federal government. The problem is the DC. I mean,
it's a terrible solution. I give you that. DC should not be doing it.
Yeah, if the states were doing it, then each state would be pulling off. Texas would have had this problem done long ago. California probably long ago too. Everybody, Arizona, New Mexico, all of them would have been able to do it. And think about like go back to the founding. I mean, how many immigrants were forced into conscription for the war? Lincoln. How many people were forced to fight for the North? There's a joke with the Confederate POW camp that no one heard English because it was all foreigners that were fighting for the Yankee way. The Mexican U.S. War, the San Patricios. They were forced. The Irish immigrants were forced into the U.S. Army, and their Catholicity was banned from them. Then they figured out they were bombing their brothers, as they said. Imagine that today. Imagine, Mexicans looking at, hey, we're fighting our brothers on the other side. The San Patricios looked over and saw priests, churches, bells, nuns, and went, we're bombing our own people.
Yeah.
Deserted, went over to the Mexican side, which you can see their bus. And
there's a movie, right? There's a movie based on that.
It's One Man's Army. I interviewed the guy that wrote the book on it. It's fantastic. Usually I wear a shirt around and at the gym, and sometimes I wear at Lowe's. People will ask me at Lowe's and ask about it, and I've never heard of this. Most people haven't. Yeah. But again, they used to conscript the immigrants all the time to get into work to gain their citizenship. So in a sense, it's not just a recent problem. It's just a federal government has done it from the beginning.
Yeah.
And has gradually made it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Then you give them free handouts, like you said. Everyone gets it. And, on top, when you were telling me about when they talk about the immigrants, doing cash only and not so they don't have to do it, I'm going, and part of me is going, good on them. I would love to know thy ways. Just it's kind of like the Ron Paul thing. And 50% of people don't pay taxes. And what do you think? Well, we're halfway there.
I get it.
Nobody.
Really quickly too, a state issue or a state thing. The reason why California is because of a state thing. Ronald Reagan with his amnesty. Mm-hmm. Ronald Reagan took a red state and made it purple. And guess what? That's what the state voted for. So that's the consequences of their actions, and if they want to reverse that trend, the point of my rant wasn't say bring in the feds. It's like somebody has to do it. If it's the Texas Rangers here that can enforce immigration, I'd love that. And I guarantee you there'll be as many Mexican Texans, like I talked about last week, who can trace their heritage all the way back to, the Texas Mexican War, that would be on the front lines to get people, non-natives or non-Texans out of Texas. It's just that the feds make it worse because now, Steve, like we were trying to talk about before, all we're doing is setting up a strong man. And you can say that my rant before and this are they're hypocritical of each other, but they're not, because what I said before, I would like it done, but not in the mass surveillance, Palantir, National Guard type way. And it's because, like you said, because the feds enabled all of this with their love of immigration, because the Republicans wanted it and the Democrats wanted it, that we were allowed to get to this point. So it's,
as that link I just said, don't let this be the reason why digital ID comes in. And then you see guys that like Jack and all those guys, mass deportations now. This is the way, get rid of everyone. Well, their boss doesn't think that.
Change your mind about targeting in California farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business?
Well, we're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have, maybe not. And you know what's going to happen and what is happening? They get rid of some of the people because, you go into a farm and you look and people they've been there for 20, 25 years and they've worked great and the owner of the farm loves them and everything else. And then you're supposed to throw them out. And you know what happens? They end up hiring the people, the criminals that have come in, the murderers from prisons and everything else. So we're going to have an order on that pretty soon, I think. We can't do that to our farmers and leisure too, hotels. We're going to have to use a lot of common sense on that.
Just make sure you can find all the illegals at Trump hotels nationwide. You come to Mar-a-Lago, you're going to be treated by the best illegals out there. They're perfect. They're beautiful.
Not those illegals.
Not those. Not the ones that I pay.
From the Mr. Baseball. He got traded to play for the Giants. Not those Giants.
Not those Giants. And Steve, the hysterical thing is within 10 years, farming's all going to be automated anyway. It's all going to be automated anyway by Palantir's AI. So these guys are freaking out about these kind of things.
This came out 2 days ago, June 10th. ICE advances sole source deal with Palantir for new surveillance backbone. And as you brought up with AI, this is coming for everyone. A new kind of AI bot takes over the net. This was yesterday. This came out. It was on Drudge. MSN's reporting on it. CEO says AI will replace so many jobs that it will cause a major recession. Hence,
we've talked about that too.
Do what?
We've talked about that too.
Yeah,
they have the technology to do it. Actually, I know. I'm sorry. I have a real. It's like a 2-second short, actually, about this. If you will just appease me, Steve, because you
indulge me.
You're such a nice guy. You let me rant and so forth. Guys, check this out. I played this on my show. This is Hollywood. Look, check this out.
Stores, execs have seen AI content so lifelike, they're now considering using it to extend old sitcoms. Not reboots, not remakes. We're talking new official episodes made entirely by machines. One exec told me that the next generative AI is so lifelike, the studio executives were, quote, scared of how they could no longer tell the difference between reality and an artificial creation. One company, Fable Studios, just launched Showrunner, an AI platform that lets users create entire TV episodes from a single sentence. Voice animation, dialogue, all auto-generated. That's all according to a report in VentureBeat. And with Hollywood under pressure to cut costs, some studios are now exploring whether to license old IP to AI firms to generate spin-offs, especially outsourcing nostalgia. But there's a legal gray area. The U.S. Copyright Office made it clear in February that AI-generated work isn't protected unless a human makes meaningful creative contributions.
That'll
change. As the tech gets better, the question isn't whether AI can bring back your favorite shows. It's whether you'll still recognize and watch them if you can't tell the difference.
So the big thing is, the whole point of that is it's here. It's here. They are literally holding it back, because we've talked about on other shows, previous shows, as soon as it gets unleashed, there's going to be mass upright. It's going to be worse because millions of people on a Monday will come in and they'll be like, by the way, your job's been eliminated. one AI firm says 50% of all entry level jobs be gone like that, because they won't need you. You remember during the cough jab, there was necessity jobs or whatever. What was the phrase or whatever? Some whatever jobs that allow that will not exist. You will not exist anymore because AI will run all of it. And that just backs up Steve's point that it's all here, man. It's all here.
There's that link on Predator drone Overwatch in LA. Is Trump testing martial law tactics in Blue America? Well, that'd be something, huh?
Yeah. No, they were called essential jobs. Thank you, RD. But
well, that'd be something if that's if there's drones overhead and you're thinking, oh yeah, great. Hey, USA, USA, USA.
As long as it flies over the Chiefs, the football games.
Remember the whole thing with the UBI we brought up. Conservative Senator Josh Hawley wants to raise the federal minimum wage. CBS News. Isn't that what the fake left was talking about doing?
$15. Why not make it $100 an hour for federal employees?
He's now Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, why not? I mean, here's the thing. We talked about this. I covered that earlier. Missouri passed a law at the state level, Steve. $15 an hour for state employees. Great. You know why? Because Missouri voted for it. Don't take your stupid policy from Missouri and then be like, well, let's do it at the federal level since we did it here. It's just so dumb. And I don't know. I don't know, Steve. I don't know, man. So,
just the other links that I had up here is check out. I put in the links for the live chat. Welcome to the Palantir World Order. This was published April 25th of this year. Read up on it. That link on judge finds severe deficiencies in Trump's admin's use of the Alien Enemies Act, permanently blocking future deportations. Again, he has to get this changed into insurrection, riots, things like that, so that they can get it unblocked.
Yep.
Toyota now building a $10 billion smart city called Woven City, sold as a futuristic utopia powered by AI, robotics, clean energy. And I guess I'll save one more for the cry room.
Yeah.
I'm running out of ideas.
You're running out of stuff. So with that, go first, since I've been spoiling your cry rooms for the last couple of weeks.
All right, fine. Well, I'll tease with this one. Isn't that playing?
No.
All right. So anyway, this is was he Polish? I think it is.
Yeah.
Takes the EU flag, throws it to the ground, steps on it, and then burns it. Yeah. Oh no, they're burning the American flag, so everyone's losing their minds. Trump is actually saying, "My computer's down." That's what's going on right here. Trump has supported legislation to jail people for a mandatory 1 year for burning the American flag in the street. Again, that has been protected by the first and 1A for quite some time. And Thomas Massie has actually said burning your own flag is, I think he's meant to say retarded. I don't know, netarded, but it's not illegal, nor should it be. No one should want the federal government so much power they can lock you up for a year for burning your own stuff. Thankfully, the Constitution prohibits Congress from making such stupid laws. One person said, I bought that from Kmart. I can do whatever I want with that. It's the emotional thing on it. Do you like it? No, it's a flag. It's not. We get more people upset about that than we get sometimes about desecration of the Eucharist. But touch the flag. If you read Chris Ferrara's book, Liberty, the God That Failed, he brings that up, talking about how there's prayers for the flag, rituals for it. There's a death ritual for the flag. How do you burn it? It's a ritual for it, so you don't desecrate it. There's Flag Day. It's just like the Memorial Day was the other day. It's the state religion version of All Saints Day, or Veterans Day is All Saints Day. Memorial Day is All Souls Day. So it gets into the parallels of the state religion going into Catholicism in a sense. Sorry, I don't have the flag. The EU thing. It looks like. Get hot in here.
Figura pełnomocnik wyborczy Komitetu pana Grzegorza Brauna, a znajdujemy się w Katowicach przed kopalnią Dwójek,
kopalnią
kamiennego. Przed południem w ministerstwie
Almost burnt
przemysłu
itself up during
nasi
it.
posłowie przeprowadzili
And someone's literally just standing there giving a play-by-play. My saint of the week. All right, I'll forget it. I'll go with Gruesome Newsom standing up to Trump. I know that's a weird one. I know it's like, what, huh? He could be both. But for a governor to stand up to the president and say, you're wrong, which he was, and Trump saying that he was going to go arrest somebody just like Lincoln. That's why if you go to check out Brian McClanahan has 2 videos on Abraham Trump and then Emperor Trump on the next day did it. They are spot on what's going on right now. The over abuse of power, the centralization of power, the rabid centralism, the nationalism, the 19th century nationalism of everything. It's so weird and nuts today that for somebody to stand up as, even though, yes, 2 things can be right at the same time. And Gruesome is wrong for what he did to California, but he's right for what he's saying to Trump.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. I think I got like 5 cry rooms. I'll try to keep it to 1 because it seems like there's more cry rooms than what?
You got a top 10 list? Is this David Letterman?
No, this is not gonna be. I think I'll just go with the easy one. Alex Padilla or whatever, the senator from California. It's campaign season, so now they have to make shows of themselves like that he did today.
I have questions for the secretary because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands off.
I mean, this is it's nothing more than just theater. It's all stupid theater. And of course, the liberals are like, I can't believe what Trump's doing. It's like, dude, you could have done this anywhere else, but you're going to be, you're just going to be dumb like that. Saint of the week. Ooh. All right. I'll go with the Indiana Pacers, who are putting up a pretty decent fight in the NBA Finals. And they seem to be at least a decent. Actually, no, scrap that. Spaceballs 2 right now. I'll give Mel and those guys Saint of the Week status right now. It could be completely different, but just that one trailer, the crawl was pretty funny. And if it's anything like that, it could be a nice return to comedy. So the prophecy is being fulfilled for Spaceballs 2, a search for even more inflated money. So that'll be that. All right, folks. Look at this. We gave you so much bonus tonight. So much. By the way, we have almost 560 people watching across all our platforms. So thank you everybody for hanging out with us tonight. We do this every Thursday or Friday. So subscribe to News from the Pew and hit the notification bell.
I don't usually bring up stuff, but how about let me show y'all this if you don't have it. To check it out. Forgive me.
No, you're fine. Absolutely. We had up to 15 people on Rumble at one point watching. So
people always ask if I have something to, like an app or something. Yes, there's an app. I started. It's got 800 videos on it. Sensitivity.tv. Check it out. You get a 2-week trial. You can do monthly or yearly. People have told me it's too expensive. It's $5 a month.
I have it. I use it, guys, when I'm at the gym. Yes, I go to the gym. When I'm there, I actually listen to you can do playlists. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just uploaded 5 more of the Imitation of Christ a little bit ago. But I upload throughout the week, but the entire week. So tomorrow, Saturday, I'll upload for next week. There'll probably be 200 videos for the entire week. Now if you check that out compare it to Formed, it's nowhere near. It's knocks it out of the park on that, but check it out if you want to, help support. It's a good way to get something back from it because you're $5 a month. Think of it like Patreon. $5 a month gets this week's and everything else that I got a ban from YouTube playlist too. So
I have it. It's on my front home screen. I think it's fantastic. I will be like that as well. Guys, if you liked my rant at any point, I have a show 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, called Rickcast, where it's pretty much me and you guys. And there's a bunch of people in the chat that hang out with me every day, Lou and G Money and Michael Thomas, and you guys are great. And if anybody else wants to come hang out with us on YouTube, on Rumble, on X, the show goes 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to come hang out, greatly appreciated. I appreciate every single person that comes and hangs out with me, and I appreciate your time. And Steve and I appreciate your time too tonight, hanging out with us. And we'll hopefully see you next weekend. Come on back next week on News from the Pew. So please like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification bell if you're on YouTube, so you know when we'll go, because Steve's pretty consistent, but I'm always like, hey dude, can we move it to like Friday, or can we move it to like Thursday? So if you hit the notification bell, you know when we go live here on News from the Pew. So like, subscribe, and share the News from the Pew. We love the fact that you hung out with us this week. We hope to see you next week. God bless, and Viva Cristo Rey.